computer's freezing up on me, and I'm just looking for things to talk about here. Let's take a look at the standings as we stand today in Major League Baseball. In the American League East, the Toronto Blue Jays have a 3.5 game lead on the New York Yankees. The Blue Jays are 34-24. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. They have a 2-game winning streak. The Yankees are 29-26. They're 5-5 in the last 10 games. The Baltimore Orioles are 28-27, 4.5 games back. They're 5-5. In their last 10 games, Boston is playing some pretty good baseball. They've won 7 games in a row. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games. They're 6 games back. They're 27-29. Tampa Bay, man, you are so disappointing to me, Tampa Bay. You will turn it around, though. Joe Madden will turn that team around. They're 23-34. They've lost 6 games in a row. The Central Division, which I think the best team in the American League right now is the Detroit Tigers. They're in first place, 4.5 games up on the good guys from the south side of Chicago, the Chicago White Sox. Detroit is 31-22. They're 4-6 in their last 10 games. The White Sox are now 29-29. They're 4.5 games back. They're 6-4 in their last 10 games. The Minnesota Twins, who come into Milwaukee tonight, and boy, they're happy to come into Milwaukee. They really are, because hey, it's the greatest city in the world. Minnesota's at 26-28. They're 3-7. In their last 10 games, they're 5.5 games back. Cleveland is 27-30. They're 6 games back. Kansas City and Nettie Yost. Oh, man, so many people were really excited about the Kansas City Royals this year. They were talking World Series. They're 26-30. 6.5 games back. They're 3-7 in their last 10 games. Out west, the Oakland Athletics. Oh, man, you gotta love this team. I mean, they are playing some great baseball. They're 35-22. They have a 4.5 game lead on the Los Angeles Angels of Los Angeles, California. Now the A's have won 3 games in a row. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. The Angels are 30-26, 4-6 in their last 10 games. They're 4.5 games back. Texas is 29-28, 6 games back. They're 6-4 in their last 10 games. Seattle is at 28-28. They're 6.5 games back. They're 5-5. In their last 10 games, the Houston Astros. All right, Houston. Hey, they played some pretty good baseball over the last week. They've lost 2 games in a row, but they're 7-3 in their last 10 games. They're 11.5 games back, and they're looking at, hey, we could get 70 wins. That's a major step up for the Houston Astros. National League Eastern Division, the Atlanta Braves, man, I told you at the beginning of the year, never count out the Atlanta Braves, because they find pitching. They find pitching. Enough pitching to win the game. They're 31-25, 5-5 in their last 10 games. They've won 3 games in a row. They're 3 games up on the Miami Marlins, who are now 28-28. 5-5 in their last 10 games, and they've lost 3 games in a row. Washington is 27-28. They're trying to figure out, how are we at 27-28, 3.5 games back. The New York Mets, hey, the Mets won 2 games in a row, 6-4 in their last 10 games. They're 4 games back. They're 27-29. The Philadelphia Phillies are 24-30, 6 games back. They've lost 2 games in a row. They're 4-6 in their last 10 games. Let's go out west, ladies and gentlemen. The San Francisco Giants, man, they are red hot. They're 37-20, 8-2 in their last 10 games. They're 7.5 games up on the Los Angeles Dodgers of Los Angeles, California. Los Angeles is 30-28, 7.5 games back. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. Colorado is 28-28. They're 2-8 in their last 10 games. They're 8.5 games back. San Diego is 26-31. They're 11 games back. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. The Arizona Diamondbacks are 23-36. They're 15 games back. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. Now, they've played better in May than they did in April, but they were so far out of it in April. I don't know if they can do anything. Tony La Russa may not even be able to change the Diamondbacks this year. We'll see. Don't like Tony La Russa. In the Central Division, the best division in all of Major League Baseball, the Milwaukee Brewers, and I love saying this in June, 34-23. They are 4 games up on the St. Louis Cardinals. The Brewers are 6-4 in their last 10 games. The big victory yesterday against the Cubs was a nice victory. They take on the Minnesota Twins tonight. That game time is at 6:20 Central Time, or as I like to call it, Milwaukee Brewer Time. The St. Louis Cardinals are 30-27. They're 4 games back. They're 4-6 in their last 10 games. Cincinnati is 26-29. They're 7 games back, 5-5 in their last 10 games. Now, they start a series against the San Francisco Giants. That's going to be a tough one. Pittsburgh is at 26-30. They're 7.5 games back, 6-4 in the last 10 games. And the Chicago Cubs, who start a series tomorrow against the New York Mets, they're 20-34, 12.5 games back, and they are 4-6 in their last 10 games. That's the standings as we stand today in Major League Baseball. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to take a look at on this date in baseball history, and we're going to see if we can figure out a way that the Milwaukee Brewers can take all 4 games from the Minnesota Twins. 2 here in Milwaukee and then 2 over in Minnesota. We'll talk about that. Brewtownsports.podomatic.com. One of my favorite things about doing the big show is being on the BaseballTalkRadio.com network. All the bases are covered. Here's some of the fantastic shows on BaseballTalkRadio.com.
Baseball Talk Radio is proud to congratulate Mr. Brewtown and his Brewtown Sports Show on his 500th episode. Check out all of his shows right at BaseballTalkRadio.com. Follow Mr. Brewtown on Twitter. He's at BrewtownSports.
Congratulations to the Mr. Brewtown podcast for their 500th show. If you love baseball and listening to podcasts on baseballpodcast.net, check out the Minnesota Twins podcast, Talk to Contact, at talktocontact.com. Once again, congratulations, Mr. Brewtown, on your 500th show.
Congratulations, Mr. Brewtown from Baseball PhD. Your podcasts inspire our podcast. 500 podcasts from the greatest city in the world, Milwaukee. Thanks for helping us all get our PhD in life through baseball.
Hi, this is Gary Mack of Mets Musings at MetsMusings.com and BaseballTalkRadio.com. And I want to congratulate Mr. Brewtown on his 500th episode. Here's to 500 more, Mr. Brewtown. Congratulations.
BaseballTalkRadio.com, your home for great baseball talk. Listen to Brewtown Sports on your iPhone, Android, WS, BOS phones, or BlackBerry device. Go to Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio. It's the smarter way to listen to the radio. Hi, welcome back to the big show. We call it Brewtown Sports. Look for us, that is, on Twitter and Google+, Brewtown Sports. Facebook is called Mr. Brewtown, and don't forget, if you want to send us a question and or comment, just hit the comment line button on brewtownradio.weebly.com, and I'll read it and or play it right here on the big show. Hey, let's talk a little bit about the Milwaukee Brewers farm system. It is better than it has been in years past. The big league Brewers and each of their top 2 minor league affiliates enter play Sunday in first place. Now, that's a big thing for any organization. At 124.99, the Brewers minor league system entered the day with the 4th best winning percentage among all organizations, trailing the Mets at 607, the Diamondbacks at 594, and the Rangers at 558. The 124 wins ties the Astros for 3rd most behind the Mets and the Diamondbacks with 133 wins each. The AAA Nashville Sounds lead the Pacific Coast League's American Northern Division with a 31-26 record, 544 winning percentage, 2.5 games ahead of New Orleans. Right-hander Mike Fiers entered his Sunday start with 85 strikeouts, most of any minor league pitcher, and Nashville's pitching staff led the league with a 3.42 ERA, and we are so glad and so happy that the Milwaukee Brewers started getting serious about their pitching down in the minor leagues and started to draft pitchers and pick pitchers up off of the Rule 5 and any other way they could get it, because now the Brewers have some pitching down in the minor leagues. The AA Huntsville Stars had the most wins in baseball at 39-17. The Stars began the day on an 8-game winning streak and led the Southern League's North Division by 12.5 games. Right-hander Tyler Cravey was leading the way at 8-1 with a 1.76 ERA in 12 games. That's 10 starts. His ERA leads the Southern League. Huntsville owned the second-best team ERA in the Southern League with a 2.90, and Class A advanced Brevard County had the second-best team ERA in the Florida State League at 2.65. In the Class A Midwest League, Wisconsin catcher Clint Cordier was tied for the league lead with 19 home runs and ranked second with 39 RBIs. He was Milwaukee's top draft pick back in 2011. So things are looking good down there on the farm. On this date in Major League Baseball history for June 2nd, in 1986, Rod Carew announced his retirement from baseball at the age of 40. Carew leads the game with a .328 career batting average compiled over 19 Major League seasons. A former Minnesota Twin and California Angels infielder, Carew will gain election to the Hall of Fame in 1991. And one of the smartest hitters I've ever witnessed in all my years of watching baseball. This guy was smart when he got up to the plate. I mean, he just knew how to hit. On this date in 1990, that is, Randy Johnson pitches the first no-hitter in Seattle Mariners history, a 2-0 win over the Detroit Tigers at the Kingdome. Johnson strikes out 8 and walks 6. On this date, in 1999, in the first-year player draft, the Tampa Bay Devil Rays select North Carolina prep star Josh Hamilton as the top pick. It's the first time since 1993 when Alex Rodriguez was selected that a high school player had been chosen first overall. On this date in 2001 at Miller Park, the red-hot Chicago Cubs extended their winning streak to 12 games, beating the Milwaukee Brewers 10-4. Matt Stairs hits a 3-run home run, while Sammy Sosa and Rondale White add 2 homers, all off of Paul Rigdon. Kevin Tapani was the winning pitcher that day. It was the longest winning streak for the Cubs since they won 15 games all the way back in 1936. The streak will carry on until the next day. On this date in 2005, the New York Yankees are swept by the team with the worst record in the major leagues at 16-37, falling 5-2 to in the series. It is the third time in their storied history that the Yankees have been swept in 3 games by the team which had the worst record in the major leagues. The other times were in 2000 by the Detroit Tigers and 1937 by the Philadelphia Athletics. The Royals had gone 78 series without sweeping anyone, the longest drought in the majors since the Phillies went 79 series without a sweep back in 1996 and 1997. On this date in 2009, the Mariners beat the Orioles 8-2. Ichiro Suzuki sets a new franchise record by hitting safely in his 26th consecutive game. Dan Uggla played in his 502nd game, hits his 100th home run, becoming the fastest second baseman to that level. He helps the Marlins beat the Brewers on the state back in 2009, 9-3. So that's on the state in baseball history for June 2nd. And a lot of exciting things. I remember that series against the Chicago Cubs, and I remember crying because, man, we can't lose to the Cubs. We just can't lose to the Chicago Cubs. Big series starts tonight right here in the greatest city in the world. The Minnesota Twins are here, and they're going to take on the Milwaukee Brewers tonight and tomorrow right here in Milwaukee, and then they head off for a quick 2-game series over in Minneapolis, St. Paul, the Twin Cities. Good series. I love these series because it's an opportunity for a lot of Twins fans to come to Milwaukee, and it's an opportunity for people from Milwaukee and the state of Wisconsin to head over to Minneapolis, St. Paul, and root their Brewers on. So it's kind of like when the Cubs come up. It's a nice rivalry. It's a great rivalry. Though I think the Twins fans are a little bit, should I say it, more well-behaved than the Cubs fans. And not a lot of Cubs fans came up for this last series against the Milwaukee Brewers. So that's pretty much our show for today. Hope you enjoyed it, because I sure enjoyed giving it to you. You are listening to the big show we call it Brewtown Sports. Look for us on Twitter and Google+, Brewtown Sports. Facebook, it's called Mr. Brewtown. You can listen to the show at BaseballTalkRadio.com, Stitcher.com, TuneIn.com, and iTunes.com. Don't forget about TPSRadio.net. at brewtownradio.weebly.com. Go Brewers, go. Beat those Twins. Have a good day, everybody. Broadcasting from the greatest city in the world, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Mr. Brewtown has left the studios. Drive home safely. Beep, beep.